Spider-Man, Hostile Takeover. Chapter 9. MJ liked how quickly things moved in journalism. It suited her. She spent most of her Sunday writing, and rewriting some more. And early Sunday evening, she sent her piece to Robbie Robertson at the Bugle. His secretary called Monday morning to say Mr. Robertson wanted to meet her that afternoon. Here, it was 2:05, less than 24 hours after submitting, and she was standing outside the editor-in-chief's office. "He's running a little behind," the secretary told her, "but not as behind as usual, which means he's running ahead, so you're in luck. It should only be a few more minutes." MJ didn't mind. If half an hour later she was still sitting here, politely sipping burned and cold coffee from a chipped styrofoam cup, she might mind then. But not yet. For the moment, she was soaking in the journalistic energy all around her. The phones ringing, the voices shouting, the endless clacking of fingers on keyboards. A woman ran through the newsroom clutching a sheaf of papers. It was like something from a movie, and she knew that nothing extraordinary was happening at that moment. There was no political upheavals, no superhuman battles in Times Squares, no scandals bursting wide open. Just another day at the races. And soon, maybe tomorrow, she'd be part of it. She had to think so. Mr. Robertson wasn't going to call her in, waste her time and his, just to let her know that she hadn't done well enough. He was going to offer her a job. That had to be it. She was going to be a writer for one of the most important papers in New York City. MJ had written for a high school paper, and then for the paper at ESU, where she'd studied journalism. Yet somehow after graduation, she hadn't immediately tried to land a job. Her life had been crazy in large part because she'd been Peter's girlfriend. He needed a full-time manager if she was going to be honest. And she tried to step in and fill that role because he was off saving the city on almost a weekly basis. Having a front row seat to Spider-Man's heroics had been thrilling at first. It was thrilling now. But there was more she wanted to do. Things she wanted to accomplish on her own. Through it all, she kept writing. Mostly freelance pieces for the city's numerous weeklies, and some investigative long-form pieces that she placed in high-profile online publications. That had been a step toward a larger goal. Online publication could be a solitary existence, and she wanted the buzz of the newsroom. That coiled feeling of something uncontainable about to break free. She wanted to be on the front lines of what mattered. Digging up the truth. Truth be told, it was hard to be around someone like Peter, who made a difference every day, and not want to make a difference yourself. "You're MJ, right?" She looked up to find a familiar-looking woman grinning at her. The woman had dark hair, a serious expression, and she was holding her hand out. "Let me take that for you," she said. Looking at the coffee cup, everyone's too busy around here to notice that they're giving you coffee from Friday. "I hope you didn't drink too much." MJ surrendered the cup, trying to fight the sour feeling in her stomach. "Not as much as I might have," she said, standing. "But more than I should have. Have we met?" "Betty Brant," she said with an easy smile. "I remember you when Peter Parker used to take photos for us. You were his wife, right?" Her hands now free of the cold coffee, MJ held them up as if to ward something off. "Don't rush it," she said wryly. "Girlfriend." "Robbie passed your piece over to me." Brent shifted the conversation without missing a beat. He was that impressed. "I'm an editor at the city desk, so I took a look at it." She paused, then added, "I have to say he was right." "Wow," MJ replied. "Thank you." Brant nodded. "He's going to offer you a job. I read some of your work in Breakthrough and Wrecker. So I know features isn't where you want to spend the rest of your life. This job is a foot in the door, so don't sweat it. I started out answering phones and typing memos. So believe me when I say hard work and a passion for news will get you noticed." MJ felt herself blushing. After spending so much time in Peter's shadow, it was great to be noticed for being herself. "It's very nice of you to say all that." Betty laughed. "I'm being selfish, though. Though things have improved a lot since I started journalism, journalism is still kind of an old boys club. Our previous editor, J. Jonah Jameson, didn't consider change a priority. Mr. Robertson's a whole lot better. But I still want to stack the deck with as many badass ladies as possible. She raised the coffee cup in salute and then dropped it into the trash can. You need anything? Let me know. As she turned to leave, Robertson's secretary motioned MJ over. I like this a great deal, Robert Robertson said. He was in his early 40s, graying at the fringes, glasses sliding down his nose. He had the look of a man who had seen it all, like he came from journalism's central casting. Despite that, there was a friendly crinkle at the corners of his eyes. He had printed out her piece, a clear sign that he'd come of age before going paperless became second nature. Notes and underlines and comments all in red pen filled the margins and space. She didn't mind being edited. She liked being edited by someone with a good eye. But there was close to being more note than text on the page. You're a talented writer, he said. Though there are some passages that feel forced, like you're gunning for a Pulitzer. Nothing wrong with swinging for the fences, but you still need to keep things crisp and clean. Let the story win the prizes, and not the flowery language. Of course, she began. I still have a lot to learn. He waved her comment away. Yes, you do, he agreed. So do I. I've been in this business a long time, and I'd never think of printing a word that hadn't been slapped around by a smart editor with a bug up his ass. Or hers. If you don't like to be told you can do it better, the Bugle is the wrong place for you. I understand. The job is for a feature writer, he said. You'll be running down specific assignments, but there will be time for you to pursue your own leads. Feature leads, Miss Watson. I recognize an opening move when I see one. He gave her a meaningful look. I've read your online pieces. You want to go after Fisk, don't you? There's an angle, she said. I'm sure of. Look. I've got a whole building full of people who want to go after Fisk, Robertson said. And they've put in their time, built their credibility. As much as I need hard news, we also need to fill pages with exercise fads and organic farmers markets and the latest trends in SAT prep. That's the job I'm offering. It's not chasing down the kingpin of crime. He rose from his seat. That's someone else's job, and if you're doing someone else's job, you won't be doing what we hired you to do. That look again. Are we perfectly clear on that? Perfectly, MJ said, meeting his eye. She understood the rules of the game, but she wasn't going to let herself be intimidated. He smiled, and she relaxed a bit. Do what we hire you to do. Do it well, and you will rise through the ranks. The best always do. He handed her the marked-up story. You're not the best, Miss Watson, but you're very good, and I expect you to get better. There's no reason you can't be the best, eventually, but you have to put in the time and the work and pay the dues. Yes, sir, she said, rising to the stand in front of him. Thank you, sir. Robbie, unless I'm mad at you, he said. Which I am not, currently. Now, read my notes, learn from what's helpful, and ignore them where I'm wrong. Be here at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Check in with my secretary. And please close the door on your way out. MJ smiled, clutched the printout, and left. She'd done it. She landed the job. It wasn't exactly the job she wanted, but she was on her way. And she completely understood Mr. Robertson. Robbie's point about needing her to do features? That's why she'd been hired. And she'd do what she was hired to do. She would do it well. As for what she did in her own time, Betty Brant poked her head into Robbie Robertson's office. I have a good feeling about her, she said. She's going to be a pain in my ass, he said. Then he flashed a grin. So yeah. Me too.